So we will continue our discussion on history. We have started off with Gandhi. So I've told you we are going to discuss about Gandhian phase now. So that is basically from 1916 onwards. So we have started off with Gandhi and we have discussed the Gandhian experiences in South Africa, and we have covered this period 1892 to 1914 period that Gandhi spent in South Africa. That 22 years we have discussed, and we have divided this into two phase, moderate phase and extremist phase, and all those things we have discussed. And I've told you moderate phase there was not much achievement, and when it comes to extremist phase there was many achievements. And we have discussed the issues Gandhi took up during that phase and how it was successful, and how Gandhi involved the masses over there, and why Gandhi is going to use the same strategy here. Okay, and how the experiences in South Africa is going to help Gandhi when he come to India. All these things is what we have done yesterday in the previous video. So here in this session, I'll be talking about arrival of Gandhi to India. So in the beginning, we will be talking about three main incidents. Okay, so we'll be talking about Champaran Satyagraha, then we'll talk about Kheda Satyagraha, and then we'll talk about Ahmedabad Mill Strike. Okay, so when we talk about Champaran Satyagraha, there's the first civil disobedience movement of Gandhi. I tell you what is civil disobedience movement and why it is called as the first civil disobedience movement of Gandhi in India. Okay, and then when we talk about Kheda Satyagraha, it was actually the first non-cooperation movement of Gandhi. I tell you what is non-cooperation movement and why, and how it is different from civil disobedience movement. Why the first one, that is Champaran Satyagraha, was a civil disobedience movement, and why the Kheda Satyagraha is a non-cooperation movement. What is the fundamental difference between that, and why this is the first non-cooperation movement launched by Gandhi. And then we'll talk about Ahmedabad Mill Strike, that is actually the first hunger strike of Gandhi in India. So in those three ways, these three events are significant. First civil disobedience movement by Gandhi in India, first non-cooperation movement by Gandhi in India, and the first hunger strike of Gandhi in India. And later you will see non-cooperation movement separately, then civil disobedience movements, and all those things we'll see in detail, quit India movement, all those things. But this three is what we are going to start today, and this is actually the beginning of Gandhi. This is actually announcing the arrival of Gandhi in India. Okay, so if you have any doubt in any of our previous videos, or if you have missed out the previous video, you can go back to that particular video and you can watch that videos. That's very important, whether it is prelims or mains. Last prelims there was a question related to indentured laborers. Okay, and I've discussed with you in detail what you mean by indentured laborers and all the different categories of Indians who were in South Africa. And Gandhi took up the issues or the plights of Indian traders, Indian migrants, indentured laborers, migrant settlers, all these people in South Africa. Okay, so that discussion is over already. So if you have any doubt, you can get in touch with me. This is my Instagram ID, and you will get all my videos in this Telegram channel, the same Telegram channel, Zia Safir. You can join in the Telegram channel. You'll get all my videos on history, economy, and in mental ability also. Okay, so let's get started today's session. So we are going to start with Champaran Satyagraha. Okay, so Champaran Satyagraha. So actually Champaran Satyagraha is related to indigo cultivation. Rather, it was a kind of forced indigo cultivation. What is indigo? Indigo is actually a natural dye which is used in textile industries. But you know, during this time, German started producing a particular synthetic dye which was actually cheap. So because of that, the prices of indigo actually came down. So it was very difficult for the peasants to cultivate indigo. Firstly, the prices actually came down, and secondly, the soil that is used for cultivation of indigo, which could not be used further for other cultivation, the fertility will actually come down. So actually this issue is related to indigo cultivation, or rather I would write forced cultivation of indigo. Now where is Champaran? Champaran is actually a very small district in Bihar. So indigo was a natural dye, and German dye, synthetic dye started coming during this time. That actually created the issue because the price of indigo came down, and it is not viable for the peasants to cultivate indigo, but they are forced to cultivate indigo under this system Tin Kathia System. What is this system? Tin Kathia system. Under this system, actually 3/20th of your land you have to use for cultivation of indigo. So there is compulsory 3/20th of the land used for indigo cultivation. So that's why it was actually Indian planters are forced to cultivate. So it's actually a forceful cultivation of indigo. Now, what was the issues of Indian peasants? So it adversely affected the Indian peasants, especially because the prices have come down, then fertility of the soil will come down. So main issues of Indian peasants or the Indian planters, or because of this forceful cultivation, actually the prices was very low. That is one reason why they are not keen on cultivating indigo. So I'll write it down. The crash in the international prices of indigo with the advent of German synthetic dyes. Okay, so that is one of the most important reason why the peasants are not keen on cultivating indigo. Secondly, as I told you, the indigo cultivation will adversely affect the fertility of the soil. Okay, so indigo cultivation led to decline in fertility of soil. Okay, so that led to conflict between European planters and Indian peasants. Now, in 1917, so when we talk about Gandhi, 1917, Gandhi reached in Champaran with his supporters, mainly Rajendra Prasad. But before Gandhi and Congress coming to Champaran, the district magistrate of Champaran actually issued a prohibitory order so that Gandhi and supporters will not enter in Champaran. Okay, but Gandhi defied the prohibitory order and he came to Champaran. So you have to keep this point in mind. Actually, Gandhi started violating rules or law. Okay, so this is one of the situation where he violated law. When he entered Champaran itself, he violated the law which was passed by the district magistrate. He actually issued a prohibitory order so that actually Gandhi cannot enter, but he entered by violating the law. And then after a month of door-to-door campaign, Gandhi prepared a report and it actually recommended for abolition of this particular system, indigo cultivation or Tin Kathia system. Okay, and Gandhi also asked the peasants not to pay tax till this issue is considered by the British government. So that is also one thing that you have to keep in mind. Gandhi asked the peasants not to pay tax. So that is also a violation of law. When you're not paying tax, it's actually a violation of law. Okay, so Gandhi entered Champaran by violating a law. Now Gandhi is asking the peasants not to pay tax. And finally, the government was actually forced to appoint a committee to look into that issue, and that committee also recommended that indigo cultivation should be abolished. And finally it was done, but over a decade of time the indigo cultivation came to an end in Champaran. Okay, so this is first achievement of Gandhi. This is Champaran Satyagraha. I'll write it on the most important points. Okay. So I'll write the important points in bullet points. Okay, a district magistrate issued a prohibitory order against Gandhi, but Gandhi defied the order and entered Champaran with his supporters. 1 month door-to-door campaign, Gandhi prepared the report and recommended for abolition of this particular system, Tin Kathia system, and abolition of indigo cultivation. And Gandhi also asked the peasants not to pay tax. Okay, so Gandhi asked the peasants of Champaran to withhold further payment of taxes till the British will look into this issue. No tax till the government look into the issue, look into their demand. Okay, so actually because of this, government appointed a committee and that committee recommended. So government appointed a committee. They recommended the abolition of Tin Kathia system and over the next decade, indigo cultivation, over the next decade, indigo cultivation came to an end in Champaran. Okay, so this is about the issue and this is about the Champaran Satyagraha. Now let's look into the possible prelims question here. Mains, if they're asking, they will be asking only about arrival of Gandhi. So there you have to club Champaran Satyagraha, Kheda Satyagraha, Ahmedabad Mill Strike, and the features of this, characteristics of this, all these things. But in prelims, specific questions can be asked. The question will be, which among the following statement is correct with respect to Champaran Satyagraha? So let me give you the first statement. It led to abolition of Tin Kathia System. Led to abolition or abandonment of Tin Kathia System. Yes, it is correct. Okay, it led to abandonment of Tin Kathia System because after the committee recommendation, the Tin Kathia System was abolished. Second, it was the first civil disobedience movement brought by Gandhi. First civil disobedience movement by Gandhi in India. Is this correct or not? It is correct. Why it is known as civil disobedience movement? Because, see, first you understand the difference between non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement. In case of non-cooperation movement, you are not cooperating with the government. But in case of civil disobedience movement, here you are not only not cooperating, you are violating the laws. Okay, so in case of civil disobedience movement, you can see the violation of law. So as I have already told you somewhere here, Gandhi, when he came to Champaran, he actually violated a law. Secondly, what is the movement? The movement is actually Gandhi recommended for the non-payment of tax. Okay, so that is also actually a violation of law. So because of this, we can say that it is actually a first civil disobedience movement of Gandhi. So in that way, that is also correct. Now the third point will be, it brought indigo cultivation to an end immediately. Okay, so brought indigo cultivation to an end with immediate effect or immediately after 1917. Okay, now the question is it correct or not? It is actually not correct, because this word is important. Not immediately after 1917, as I have already told you, over the next decade, indigo cultivation came to an end in Champaran. So you can see here the points here to be noted is, it led to abandonment of Tin Kathia System. Yes, correct. It was the first civil disobedience movement of Gandhi. Yes, correct. What is civil disobedience movement? Because you are violating law, so it is a civil disobedience movement. It brought indigo cultivation to an end. Immediately is the key word here. If it would have been over the next decade, then it was correct. But here this statement is wrong. So this is how you will get the prelims question. So you'll have to pick. Now the options will be 1 only, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1, 2, 3. So here answer for this question is 1 and 2 are correct. Okay, so I hope this is clear for all of you. Now let's look into the next one, that is Kheda Satyagraha. Okay, so again very important, Kheda Satyagraha. So Kheda is in Gujarat. So which type of settlement was here? We have already discussed. You can go back to the video, permanent settlement, Mahalwari settlement, Rotwari settlement, a separate discussion we have done already. So there I have told you permanent settlement was in eastern part of India, Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, that area, and some parts of Tamil Nadu and Banaras also. When we discussed about Rotwari settlement, I have told you entire Madras, okay, and central provinces. So, and that was the one which was implemented in maximum part of the country, British India. So this was actually part of Rotwari settlement, or Kheda. Here it was Rotwari settlement which was going on. Okay, now there is a provision here, you know, in case of some crop failure or if there is some issue, if your produce is less than 1 by 4th of the expected or the last year production, then you are exempted from tax. Okay, so there is a tax remission or tax exemption if your produce is less than 1 by 4th of the previous year. Previous year means not like any previous year, because if this year there was a drought, okay, and then the production will be very, very less. So next year you can't say it is 1 by 4th of that, and that cannot be possible. So the previous year means I mean normal year. Whenever we talk about whenever we make any comparison, it has to be normal year. Like when we discussed about base year also, I've told you we are not taking 2008 as the base year because this was not a normal year, because global financial crisis was going on, and then we were supposed to take 2008-9 as the base year, right? Because before that it was 2004-5, and every 5 years you conduct the large scale survey, and then that will be the base year. The large scale survey which is conducted by NSSO, based on that only base year will be fixed. So 2008-9 should have been the base year, but it was not revised for a long period of time. We kept it 2004-5 because this was not a normal year, and now we changed our base year to 2011-12 later. Okay, similarly here also what I'm saying is, in case if the production is less than 1 by 4th of normal year, then you are exempted from the tax. You don't want to pay tax. So this is the rule, this is the law, this is what you need to. Okay, so this is actually the law. Now what happened is British started collecting taxes from even in case of the production is less than 1 by 4th. Then Gandhi argued that you should not pay taxes in this case. If your production is less than 1 by 4th, you should refrain from paying taxes. Okay, so here also Gandhi is saying not to pay tax, just like before. There also Gandhi was saying not to pay tax. Here also Gandhi is saying not to pay tax, and government appointed a committee, okay, under the pressure. So even the committee also recommended there is no logic in collecting taxes because the rule says so. So there is no point in collecting tax. So that's about Kheda Satyagraha. Now the question is whether it is a civil disobedience movement or a non-cooperation movement. In the previous case also I've told you, since Gandhi gave a call for not to pay tax, which is a violation of law, it become civil disobedience movement. Exactly in the same way, here also he is giving a call for non-payment of tax, but here it is not civil disobedience movement because he is not violating a law. Here who violated the law? It is actually the British government violated the law, right? Legally you are exempted from paying tax. So already you have an exemption for not to pay tax. So you are legally entitled for non-payment of tax. So here you are not cooperating. You are not cooperating. I am stressing it again. I am emphasizing the same point again. You are not cooperating with the British government with their illegal demand to pay tax. So legally you are exempted. Legally you don't want to pay tax. So are you violating any law here? You are not violating any law. Then what are you doing? You are not cooperating with the government and you are not paying tax, and that means you are actually not ready to accept the illegal demand of the government. So this is actually a non-cooperation movement. This is not a civil disobedience movement. In both cases, Gandhi was asking not to pay tax. I hope you understood why in this case it became non-cooperation movement, and in the previous case why it became civil disobedience movement. There, legal it was. Here, it was illegal. It means the British government was asking you illegally, and legally you are entitled. There, if you are not paying tax, it is actually illegal. Here, if you are not paying tax, it will not become illegal, right? Because you are legally entitled not to pay tax. Only to those people Gandhi was saying not to pay tax. So it became the first non-cooperation movement of Gandhi. So that's what the significance of these two. The other one was the Champaran Satyagraha was the first civil disobedience movement by Gandhi, and Kheda Satyagraha was the first non-cooperation movement led by Gandhi. Let me write down the important points here. Those who want to take down notes, you can take that. In case of famine or low production where the produce was less than 1/4 of that of a normal year, the peasants were entitled to a tax remission, but government tried to collect tax. So not this point here, government is doing it illegally. So Gandhi gave a call not to pay tax. Gandhi argued not to pay tax. Peasants should refrain from paying tax. No tax. Exactly the same thing which happened in the Champaran Satyagraha also. But here government is asking you illegally. So that's why I told you, you are not cooperating with the illegal demand of the government. So non-cooperation movement. So I hope this is clear. Then the committee was appointed. The committee also recommended, that there is no logic in collecting taxes. So this is the first non-cooperation movement of Gandhi. Why? Because you are not breaking any law. You are not cooperating with the illegal demand of the government. So I hope this is clear for all of you. Next is Ahmedabad Mill Strike. Okay. So Ahmedabad Mill Strike 1918. Okay. So this is basically workers' issue. He have taken up the workers' issue. Now 2 points that you need to know is, after the World War I, the plague bonus is actually withdrawn. So that is one thing. Secondly, during World War I, actually English companies were not producing much. So the Indian companies are producing for English as well as for Indians. So Indian capitalists have made huge profit during World War I. They are the people who got the maximum advantage of World War I. But there was no salary hike in the case of workers. So actually workers demanded a salary hike of 1/3, 33%, and this issue is related to that point. Okay, so it is actually not against English capitalist. That is one point which students always have the confusion. It was actually workers and Indian capitalists. So the issues between workers and Indian capitalists. So this point has to be very clear to you. So the workers after the war, they demanded 33% wage hike, but the Indian capitalist was never ready. They were not interested in giving a salary hike. Then Gandhi involved in this. Because of Gandhi, initially they agreed to pay or give a hike of 20%, but neither the workers nor Gandhi was actually happy with it. And then Gandhi went for a hunger strike, and ultimately they managed to get 33% wage hike. Okay. So what I want to tell you is, workers demanded 33%, 1/3, and ultimately they got it. But there may be questions like they were able to achieve 20%. Yes, 20% in the beginning, but after the hunger strike, they were ready to get 33%. Or the question can be something like this: immediately they gave the 33% wage hike. No, in the beginning it was 20%, and then after the hunger strike, 33%. But the most important point here is, there's the first hunger strike of Gandhi in India. So Champaran is important for first civil disobedience movement, and Kheda is important for first non-cooperation movement. Ahmedabad Mill Strike is important for first hunger strike, and this is the case of workers. In the previous two cases, it was peasants. So first two was related to the peasants. Whether it is Indigo cultivation, whether it is Champaran Satyagraha or Kheda Satyagraha, both are related to the peasants, and here it is the workers. Okay, so I hope this is understood. So let me write down the important points and then we will wind up. After World War I, plague bonus was withdrawn. Okay, that is one thing. Then the workers, no hike, despite huge profit is made by the capitalist. No wage hike for workers. I'm not writing it completely. You can complete it. Despite Indian capitalists made huge profit during World War I, because English companies were not producing at that time. So the main suppliers were actually the Indian companies, and they demanded, workers demanded 33% wage hike, and Indian capitalist was not ready for it. Then when Gandhi came, because of Gandhi, initially they agreed 20%, and then workers and Gandhi was not happy. Gandhi went for hunger strike. Very, very important point here. And ultimately, he managed to get 33%. So effectively, they got 33% wage hike. But more than all these facts and things, what I want to tell you is, this is what I want to highlight, the arrival of Gandhi. Champaran Satyagraha, issue of peasant is taken for civil disobedience movement. Non-cooperation movement, issue of peasant. Again, it was the first non-cooperation movement. Civil disobedience movement, non-cooperation movement. Ahmedabad Mill Strike, issue of workers, and first hunger strike. Okay, and every point which I've told you is very important. Each and every point, and when I talked about indigo cultivation, it never came to an end immediately, right? Over the next decade, it came to an end. So all those minute points are very important. If you have any doubt, you can get in touch with me. This is my Instagram ID, Zia Safir, and this itself is my Telegram channel.